I mean,
right here.
They can like kick, you know, but they can't see.
They might lose their balance. Look how tall they are.
Are you kidding me? If they didn't lose their balance going, like, come on. Like,
Hey, bro. Animal secrets zoos don't want you to know. Have you guys seen it? Because we haven't.
all right, let's jump into it.
Animal facts that zookeepers might not want to tell you. Zebras are one of the most responsible for injuries to zookeepers because they're wildly unpredictable and overall assholes. Life can really go from 0 to kicked in the chest if you're around one. And the hand-reared ones are the worst because people think they're wild horses when really they're demon donkeys that'll crack your ribs and bite off your hand unprovoked. In a place with lions, bears, and gators, your biggest op could be a pissed-off Oreo horse. If you work with foxes, your social life will suffer. Not only do they smell horrible, but the smell of fox pee sticks to hair, clothes, and skin and lasts weeks, no matter how hard or long you scrub.
Wow.
Getting R. Kelly by a fox is a great way to make people avoid you like the real one. Rhinos are the world's biggest and most dangerous puppies. White rhinos will eat out of your hand and they love being scratched. For a 5,000-pound armored truck with legs, they have the personality of a Labrador. With ducks, you never want to have more males than females. As a rule, you need 4 to 6 males for every female because if you don't, the males will get aggressive and jump the female.
Oh my
I couldn't
God.
find a TikTok, but basically she was saying a female duck lost her eye because during a particularly violent session, one of the males got impatient and ripped her eyeball out. Since it usually happens in water, multiple males could possibly drown the female. If it is in water, they could break her bones. Animal secrets zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 2. Anteaters are way meaner than they get credit for, and sometimes they'll just snap and take a life for no reason. Like, even jaguars would hesitate to attack them because
anteaters
really
are fucking weird looking.
One anteater mauled a zookeeper so badly that she had severe liver, stomach, and lung damage.
Holy
and she died.
shit.
You watch your back if you're in his hood. Tortoises are jaw-droppingly stupid. If you leave a bucket around them, they will 100% try to make babies with it, and they'll even give the treatment to an extra curvy boulder. Orangutans are evil pickpocketing geniuses that'll steal items of importance and only return them in exchange for food. Sometimes they'll even break up the object and hand it back piece by piece in order to extort more food, which is unfortunate if they steal your phone, and even worse if they steal an animal like an opossum. It's happened. This isn't a secret, but if you've ever seen a zookeeper cleaning an enclosure and you jokingly said something like, "I wonder what animal that is," I can guarantee you that day you got silently cursed out in ways you didn't even know possible. Giraffes can seriously mess you up out of nowhere. Males fight for females by necking, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Sometimes they'll take a swing at keepers not
Oh my
Dude,
God.
what the fuck?
I've never seen giraffes fight.
Dude.
I mean,
just swinging.
They connect, they will send you flying. But one day they're not nice.
that makes sense that's how they do it. They got nothing else.
They can like.
They got a weapon
I mean,
right here.
they can like kick, you know, but they can't see.
They might lose their balance. Look how tall they are.
Are you kidding me? If they didn't lose their balance going, like, come on. Like, come on.
Someone gets put on CNN. Animal facts zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 3. Koalas are teddy bears with the personality of a chainsaw, and if you have to carry an animal out of its enclosure, you'd have an easier time manhandling a crocodile. They claw, they bite, and they are dicks to other animals. Every time a keeper picks one up, their health insurance goes up. Aquariums will have captive breeding programs for dolphins, but since they're difficult to transport for mating, they'll use artificial insemination. Meaning someone gets paid to give Flipper a happy ending and collect the baby maker, and the dolphins are so smart they'll recognize whose job it is, and when they see them, they'll roll over and present themselves. If you irritate a member of the camelidae family like llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and of course camels, they don't just spit on you. Zookeepers just say it's spit so you don't totally freak out. What they actually do is regurgitate the contents of their stomach, mix it with saliva, and launch it in the face of whoever's annoying them. They'll basically projectile vomit half-eaten grass all over you and dare you to do something about it. Out of all the raptors, turkey vultures are one of the most affectionate, and they'll form strong emotional bonds with their keepers. They'll follow their favorite around, greet them when they enter the enclosure, and even play with their socks and shoes. If you ignore the fact that they smell like an open casket in July, they're actually pretty cool. Animal facts zookeepers might not want to tell you. Meerkats are the spawn of Satan, and they conduct themselves as such. If you know anyone who's ever worked with meerkats, ask them to show you the scars. I guarantee you they have them. They are, no exaggeration, the most homicidal mammals on the planet that aren't humans. If the zoo announces the death of one of their meerkats and they say it was due to natural causes, it's way more likely that one just straight up murdered another. They're also one of the worst animals for first-time zookeepers because nobody wants them. They're cute and cuddly and try to feed them by hand. And that is exactly how you go to bed with less fingers than you woke up with. Most keepers understand their animals so well that they have no problem being in the same enclosure as tigers, leopards, and bears. But there's one animal that seems to universally scare everyone. Ironically, cassowaries are shy and introverted in nature, but during breeding season, sometimes turkeys decide to catch a body. They are one of the most dangerously unpredictable animals you'll ever be around. Most zoos won't even let workers inside cassowary exhibits without at least 2 others keeping watch. And they often go in with an attack shield in case this Satan Tweety gets ideas. Orangutans are smart enough to get people fired. In Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, zookeepers kept forgetting to lock the orangutan exhibit, and when they would get there in the morning, 5 males would be posted outside. The head keeper got on his staff for being careless, but after this happened several more times, he was ready to put someone on unemployment. But it turned out one of the males named Fu Manchu found a piece of wire and hid it between his lips and gums, and when nobody was looking, he used it to pick the lock of his enclosure, and then he proceeded to free all of his friends. It took zookeepers over a week and the threat of being fired to figure it out. Cougars are the biggest pushover of any cat.
That's literally like, guys, we're under investigation. We need to look for who the fuck keeps leaving this shit open, and then they're just like scanning the videos for hours trying to find out how does it keep opening. And then they just see this orangutan just sitting there going.
That's like the plot of like a new Disney movie.
Yeah.
Orangutans escape.
I mean, it's Madagascar.
Yes.
Just without the orangutan.
They're naturally afraid of people, but when comfortable, they'll seek out head scratches and belly rubs, all while purring. They're basically giant house cats that could turn you into a headline if they wanted to. Secrets zoos might not want you to know. Every zoo has a group of animals that are so dangerous they're kill on sight, meaning if they escape their enclosure or attack somebody, zookeepers are taught to take them out immediately. And surprisingly, a lot of big cats like lions and tigers aren't KOS because they would rather tranquilize and capture them. Even silverbacks are tranquilized first, but there's one animal that's kill on sight in basically every zoo. Chimpanzees, because not only are they homicidal, they're incredibly fast and strong, tranquilizers only piss them off. By the time it kicks in, they could have already chewed someone's face off.
Oh my god.
If one escapes, somebody has to die, and it's usually the chimp. Sloths can be incredibly vicious. They look innocent, but those jaws can inflict nasty injuries on animals and people. Tamarin was once harassing a three-toed sloth, which everyone thought was cute, until the sloth clamped its jaws around the monkey's face. By the time keepers broke it up, the monkey had an eyeball hanging out of its socket, and the sloth was covered in blood that wasn't his. Tortoises are dicks for no reason. Sometimes if you go in their enclosure, they'll block off the exit by sitting in front of it. And since the Aldabra tortoise can be 500 pounds of stubborn, you're not going anywhere. A lot of zoos have the red pandas for $1 million a year, and it takes another $500,000 to feed them, which doesn't even include medical and enrichment costs. It can literally single-handedly bankrupt zoos. Might not want to tell you. Part 6. A lot of animals in captivity become much worse parents because honestly, zoo animals are just worse at being animals. In the wild, a mother may reject her baby due to drought or sickness. Zoo animals can reject them purely off vibes. Zoo animals also respond way worse to stress, and when a military jet flew over a Sweden zoo, the animals got so stressed and so pressed they proceeded to tear apart and eat 23 of their babies.
Yo!
Zoos don't buy or sell animals from each other, instead they trade like cards. For example, if you think you would like this bighorn puppy, it'd probably cost you about 20 penguins. 2 lion cubs could set you back one great zebra, and if you have more baby giraffes than you can handle, you could trade him in for a Burmese python, a red-tailed hawk, and a miniature pig. Most zoos are strongly against putting price tags on animals because it can encourage poaching. Except these guys. These bastards are too expensive to trade. Animal escapes are pretty rare, but when a major one happens, everyone...
They're too expensive to trade, and they're also too expensive to keep. It's like, cost $1 million to keep one, cost $500,000 to feed them. What's that return on investment?
Yeah.
Just so everybody can go to the zoo and be like, oh my god, it's Kung Fu Panda. It's like, oh my god.
Everyone basically readjusts their fences and enclosures. Kind of like how in class everybody will change their answers if one kid gets it wrong. A lot of zoos had to readjust their tiger enclosure because 3 idiots decided to taunt one and that tiger proceeded to yeet itself over a wall.
Oh,
sometimes natural selection comes with a free meal. Things zookeepers might not want to tell you. You probably shouldn't work with your favorite animal for the same reason you shouldn't share an apartment with your best friend. After 1 week, it'll change everything you thought you knew about them. You like penguins? They smell like Satan's locker and snap and bite at your shins every time you feed them. You like tigers? Tiger poop is one of the worst smelling things you'll ever live through. You like elephants? Give one an enema and I swear next day you'll be out with your favorite animal, you'll have a new favorite by lunch.
Okay.
You don't have to see it.
Okay.
That was
well, damn.
Didn't expect that.
Nope, did not expect that.
At first, I thought it was the mouth.
What?
Thought it was.
Okay, we'll just keep going. We're just gonna keep going.
Animals all day. It's incredibly difficult and ridiculously demanding. They work well over 40 hours a week and often have to sleep at zoos just so they can respond to any emergencies. You go through years of training, applications, and hours of interning, all for a starting salary of about less than $30,000.
Oh,
a different breed. But they're so dedicated to the animals that it's worth it. But if you personally know a zookeeper, tell them you appreciate them. Lord knows they don't hear it enough. Out of all the animals, the most dangerous and the ones zookeepers hate working with the most are the ones outside the cage. No other animal causes more migraines or higher blood pressure than a hairless primate armed with an iPhone and a sense of entitlement. Most zookeepers agree if we kept the animals and banned the people, zoos would be 10 times more fun, and I don't blame them for thinking that. Animal facts you definitely wouldn't know unless you worked at a zoo. Walruses are really talented at baiting. In fact, you could say they're master baits. You're probably wondering how a walrus does this. Well, there's 2 options. 1, they slap themselves with their flippers, or 2, they're flexible enough to self-service themselves with their mouth. And if you've seen a walrus, you've probably seen one do this. Bonobos will go out of their way to wait until they have a crowd of people around them and then start spontaneously having in front of the audience. They do it on purpose. I don't know why, but literally the more people around, the more likely they are to ruin the innocence of any child watching. Tigers to show affection will do the same slow blink that your cat does to tell you he loves you. Tigers share 95% of their DNA with domestic cats, which makes sense because they're basically house cats on steroids. They'll cuddle up to their favorite keepers, play hide and seek with them, and of course give them that famous love blink. Tigers are soft. A lot of animals get lonely during the winter because there's less visitors and they're used to seeing people. This usually happens with higher intelligence animals like elephants, primates, and parrots like the African grey. During COVID, one zoo brought painters into the monkey house just so the monkeys would feel less alone. One Japanese zoo asked people to FaceTime the eels just so they wouldn't forget about people. Top 3 dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and no, number 1 is not what you think it is. In 2009, a woman decided to take a flash pass to Jesus by jumping into the polar bear exhibit in a Berlin zoo.
Dude.
She proceeded to get mauled by 4 of the biggest carnivores on the planet. At one point, zookeepers were able to pull her out of the pool, but of course she fell right back in. She also did this during the polar bear's feeding time. Apparently, she lost her teaching job and was so depressed that she decided to factory reset her life one of the worst ways possible, and zookeepers were actually seconds away from shooting the bears just to save her. Luckily, she and the polar bears lived. In 2007 in San Francisco,
What the
three
hell?
dumbasses who will not be named decided to taunt Tatiana the Siberian tiger just to see what would happen. What happened was she decided to make the census 3 names lighter. Motivated by malice, Tatiana jumped over a nearly 13-foot wall and violated all 3, murking 1 and severely injuring the other 2. And what's true today was true back then. If you're young and dumb, you will get paid, and after getting sued, the zoo had to pay a $900,000 stupid tax to the brothers. Number 1 isn't actually this. Because in 2012, a mother lifted her son over a railing to get a better look at the animals. He then dropped the 2-year-old into the African wild dog exhibit. He survived the fall, but not the dogs. And if you know how African wild dogs hunt prey, you know this was very bad. On top of all that, the mother sued the Pittsburgh Zoo for negligence. Yeah. Obviously, the victim...
That is...
She must have lost,
It's just,
right?
like, insane, the level of, like, just balls someone could have to be like, yeah, I lifted my child over the protective barrier to get a better view. It fell, died, and now I'm trying to be like, it's your fault for allowing this to happen. You put...
I know.
Well, you did it!
I know.
There could be 100 barriers. You'll find a way through, fuck it up, and then blame the zoo.
But yeah, like as we see on Mr. Ballin, there's so many danger, beware, warning signs, and people just keep on marching.
Yeah.
Because they got to be the one that sees this thing up close.
I mean, generally they get the consequences, but to be like, oh yes, but it's actually your fault for not having a sign or something here to prevent me from making a stupid decision.
Yeah, and what sucks is that like the kid is the one that died.
Suffers for it. Yeah.
The victim here is the little boy because nobody deserves that. But yeah, the railing's there for a fucking reason.
Exactly.
Things ever happen at a zoo, and number 1 will make you feel some type of way. In 2017, a man decided he didn't want to pay the price of admission to get into a zoo, and instead scaled a 10-foot wall to get in.
My
and best
guy.
believe the price was paid because my man's.
Well, it's a 10-foot wall, and they still found a way. Like, come on, guys.
Dude.
What the hell?
Ended up in the living room of 3 of the biggest big cats on the planet.
Oh.
The man was brutally mauled in front of horrified guests, and I like to think the last thing that went through his head, other than, you know, the tiger's teeth, was if it was really worth it. You can't put a price on life, but this man gambled his entire way of being over $19. Also, one of the tigers died over his stupidity. At number 2, you probably know exactly where this is going. Another dumbass who will not be named was a regular at a Netherlands zoo, and she had a habit of smiling at the gorillas and making eye contact, even though trained zookeepers told her not to. She ignored them and said that she had a special bond with the gorillas since they always smiled back. Basically, she pulled it. Trust me, I know him. He'll listen to me. Remember what we talked about. This isn't you. Yeah, she played pick-me with a 400-pound gorilla, and one day Bakito woke up and chose Miralax because he wasn't taking no shit. Bakito escaped, beat the woman like she stole something from it, and then broke into a restaurant. And number 1 in 1987 at Prospect Park Zoo in Brooklyn, a couple boys decided to climb into an exhibit and swim in a moat. Whose exhibit, you ask? Well, originally they planned on swimming in a sea lion pool, but somewhere along the line they decided they just didn't value their lives. They went into the polar bear den. What happened next was 2 900-pound murder bears proceeded to play tug-of-war with the 11-year-old's body. Police came and shot the bears, but the boy was already past tense. Did I mention this was all because of a dare? It was a tragic, senseless, avoidable death that never should have happened. May those polar bears rest in peace. As for the boy, he can rest in pieces.
Damn. Oh my god.
Damn.
Some people, man. Like, if you don't have the money to go to the zoo, I don't know, don't go to the zoo.
I mean, just go on your phone, look at the animals through there at that point.
Watch this guy's YouTube channel. Like,
it's just crazy the extent, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just survival of the fittest at that point. Like, what are you going to do? You could have all the signs, you could have all the barriers, you could have everything in the world, but someone is someone's gonna fuck around and find out.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Well, on that note, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.